Everybody, welcome back to another incredible show of the True That Show. And we've got some great True That information for you today. We're so excited. We've got an amazing another author. And when I say another author, it's because me and Caroline are up to the wee hours right now, getting ready to produce you another book that is coming out about some incredible women. And this has such a title to it that if you are a parent, you're going to go to the edge of your seat. If you've ever been on an airplane, you're going to go, they keep telling me to put my, my mask on first. And the title of this book is Love Them, Love You More. And I can't wait to delve into that. I mean, I know that it's got something to do with her story, which is incredible. But when I think about that, well, actually, Caroline, when you think about that, what do you think? Love them. We could go in many different directions, I know, but love them, love you more. What does that make you think?
Well, I'm happy that you did precise kids in there because I could have gone on a whole other tangent. But yes, love them, love you more. It's funny you talked about the oxygen mask on airplanes because I remember 22 years ago when I had my firstborn, and I heard that because I flew with him. He was about 5-6 months. And the stewardess told me, if ever something happens, put your mask on first and put it on your baby after. And I looked at her like, what kind of person are you? Like, I was shocked. It was my first experience and it was a pure stranger telling me that. And actually, I thought that for years, like, there's no way if something happens, my baby gets the mask. But then you grow, you get more mature as a parent and you understand more things and you start seeing things differently. And it's absolutely true that, if I would put the mask on my baby, he would survive. But if I die, he can't do anything, anything. He will be breathing, but that's it. So I think that the day that I really understood that analogy to transport to our lives, because then you have one kid, then two, and then you didn't understand, you have three. And at some point you understand and you stop. But yes, for me, it's I adore my kids, but you absolutely have to love yourself, because if you're not okay, they won't be okay. And that can go so deep, like, because, kids really feel everything we feel. So you can't fake it with your kids. So if you're not well, they will know. But what does it mean to you, Deb? Because I know that you've always been more spiritual and, more aware of all these things. So when is the first time that you realized that you needed the mask first?
You know what? I mean, that's a really interesting question. I mean, I'm a pretty transparent, recovering codependent, and so for me, when I think about love, I think it came from crash and burn. Honestly, I think that came from internal crash and burn, whether I thought it was seen out there because, I spent 27 years owning a healing studio. So I'm pretty sure I'm here to serve. And so I just kept hoping that, God, spirit, universe, vitamins, supplements, my friends were going to keep my bucket full. And I think I was in a constant trying to keep my bucket full, and I would pull reserve, or I'd go get massaged and get my healing work so I could go massage and give healing work. Right. And so I was conscious enough to keep trying to, I did journal writing every day for 17 years. I had lots of aromatherapy baths. So here's the craziness about that. Lots of self-love, lots of self-care, but I did it. Why I did it was to keep reserved so I could keep giving. I don't know how healthy that was. But I know that I have come up against that in friendships, in parenting, in running a company. At one point I had 18 staff. I remember putting their needs before mine many times. And for me, it was so blurry because, you need to make sure that your staff's happy. They all get paid first. You're eating peas and rice because you're the one who's running the business, and they come first. Your staff comes first. Your customers come first. So I think honestly, if I'm going to be transparent, I've learned that lesson through crash and burn, and realizing that at the end of the day, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not 20 anymore, I started to have some of that epiphany around quality of life and what does that look like. And then there's times where, I'm all in. Like, I'm all in. I'm all in on my business today. I'm all in on, we're racing to the clock to produce this book. And there's things that are not going to get my attention, like my laundry. So when there's things that I don't care about not getting my attention, but there's also things where I have to put things aside and make my work first, because my ultimate goal with my career is this picture that benefits me and my family. I think it's a bit blurry for me. And I think it depends where I'm at. I just do my very best to keep my optimum. And I've really come to love and appreciate my state of mental health. That has probably been a big eye opener for me, that somehow my mental health, and I have an ability to do a lot of things, like spin a lot of plates. It's God given. I didn't like sign up for a course and take it. So sometimes I feel like my plate's really full. But it's listening to that inside voice that's like, go to bed, Deb, go to bed, right? And then sometimes it has to scream at me, or the TV has to turn off by itself. But I think all I can say is that I'm in recovery.
Well, thank you for being so honest and vulnerable. And I'm just going to add, for people who don't know Deb, she doesn't actually watch her TV, because now she just made herself sound like the biggest lazy person, couch potato. Her TV is always on, but she's not watching it. So that's the weirdest thing ever. But it does exist. There's some people who do that and pay cable every month, but do not watch TV. So back to love them and love you more. We could talk about that for hours. And I know that all of you listening all have an opinion on it. You all have a story, whether you know it or not. But let's talk with the expert here today. Let's welcome Toye Penny, who wrote the book, Love Them, Love You More. Welcome, Toye.
Thank you so much. And it's Toy. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for having me and discussing Love Them, Love You More, and the Love You More method. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So, Toy, so that was a big, the first misstep. And unfortunately, we do not edit our shows. So,
right.
See,
it's fine.
Another
it's
thing
fine.
I had to learn, laugh at my mistakes. So I laughed a lot. Toy, talk to us about, what is this book about? I think the title gives it away a little, but I'm sure, well, I know that there's way more to it. So talk to us a bit what the book is about.
Well, this book is a direct correlation of my method, the Love You More method. And when I put them in quotations, because them it consists of our children, it consists of our team members, it consists of society, it consists of everyone that we're connected to. So when I say love them, love you more, we need to love them. But in order to love them, really truly love them, we must love ourselves more. And that, I think, because we are this book and the Love You More method was created for high performers, for celebrities, for high performers and celebrities who are moms in specifically. And so a lot of us are givers. We are givers in our areas of business. We are givers in our marriages. We're givers in parenthood. We're givers with our teams. We're givers everywhere in society. We're donating. We're doing so much. And so in order to continue giving, just like Deb said, you must pour into yourself, and you must set the example so that actually you can model this for generations to come. So that is what Love Them, Love You More is basically about.
So Toy, the one thing that I think myself and Caroline have discovered, not only through our own learnings, is that, we write the book a lot of times from personal experience, or we have the epiphany about other people know because you see it, or you live it, or both. And so getting to know you a little more, I think you had your own experience around that. And if you wouldn't mind sharing, because I think there's just so much power in not only hearing someone's words and having a solution, but when you know that that person has been up against the wall, like you might be feeling. And here's the thing. The one thing that I experienced many times, and maybe you do this with your clients as well, share, is that a lot of times we don't tell anybody. We just, oh, sure, I'll bake the cookies. Sure, I'll take the dog to the this. Sure, I'll talk to you at 11 o'clock at night, even though I got to get up at 5 because one of my teammates. So we do these things. There's little crumbling pieces that are going on inside, and we don't really say it to anybody. Maybe our best friend, we're like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I need to go do something, because there's an expectation, whether it's culture. And particularly, I think when you're talking about high performers have a high expectation of themselves more than anybody else. And so maybe, share a little bit about that.
Yes, I mean, you are directly on it. Like you are so on it. And a lot of us, and as my experience, a lot of us, we brush it up under the rug. Not only that, because we are high performers and we have this, everyone looks at us like the strong person, like we're so strong. And so we can do no wrong. We carry everything and we carry it well. We carry it with, we look good on the outside. Our homes are covered. Our cars are clean. Our kids are well dressed. The team members is flowing. The money's coming in. But on the back end, there are a lot of things that we deal with that people don't know about. We cover it up and we carry this facade of, I have it all together.
So tell us a little bit about how that was like for you.
Sure. So, but very briefly, I'll share my story. And my story started when I was about 9 years old. My mother passed away of lupus. I remember, and I shared this in the book, but I remember being about 5 years old and being watching my mom, being sick and just all of this, and me going from home to home, basically with my godparents. And I remember being there. I remember having to cook the meals. I remember having to write the checks at 5 years old, go to the grocery store and cover the meals. I remember preparing meals for my mother and I, and also other people that came over. So cooking and serving started at a very young age for me. And so long story short, when I got to age 9, my uncle came to me and said, your mother is sick. And I said, okay. That was one day. The next day he came to me and said, your mother passed away. I never got to see her. I never got to say goodbye. There was no closure for myself. And so I struggled with that for a while after that. But mother passed away of lupus at 9 years old. My father was not present in my life until I was about 18 years old. I was sexually abused at the age of 13, and then I became a teenage mom at the age of 16, had her at 17. Now, I didn't know how I was going to provide for this daughter of mine. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know. All I know is I was pregnant at 16 and that I knew that something needed to happen. So I graduated top of my class in high school, and my daughter was 1 year old when I walked across the stage. And I remember her being there cheering and everything. And I immediately went off to massage therapy school right after high school. My family wanted to keep me close by because I had the baby and all of that. And so I went off to massage therapy school. And so I immediately got hired at this high-end luxury day spa where I was working there. I was 19 at the time. I was working there for about 2.5 years, got my first apartment, my first brand new ride. My daughter was living it up. We was living it up, y'all. And then out of the blue, y'all, I was there, 2.5 years, and the owner came to me and asked me if I wanted to buy the place. So I'm like, huh? Wait, what? And so she wanted to do something else, and she saw me as her best employee. Now, I I just was hungry for the money at the time. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. I was hungry for the money. I showed up on time. I was serving, but she saw that as something else. So she asked me if I wanted to buy the place, and I was like, sure. Now I was not financially stable to buy the place. I didn't know how that was going to happen. And so, long story short, I bartered services with a couple of clients who were attorneys, and they represented me in the sale. They typed up the paperwork and everything. And then the next thing you know, y'all, I am 23 years old and the owner of a high-end luxury day spa. And I have 15 employees. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, this is crazy. Um, so what happened was I worked out a deal with the lady where I would pay her off in payments. And in 6 months, the business was paid off just through the credit card payments. Just from the credit card payments alone, the business, it was in my name. And so, I'm still 23 years old. Y'all, I built my first home from the ground up at the age of 24. I'm living the life. My daughter and I, we want it for nothing. We're flying around the world. We're traveling. We're running this company successfully. And y'all, here's where my downfall happened for me. Financially, I was good. I was set. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, things were falling apart. Physically as well on the back end. So my relationships were falling apart. Bits and pieces of my health was falling apart. I had no time to spend with my daughter. We was eating out every single day. And listen, I was just like really diving into this business. This business became my identity. And so I knew that I wasn't supposed to be living like this. And I knew, my daughter started acting out, by this time she's like 9, 10. And I'm just like, all we had time for was bedtime, dinner, and then that was it. And so I one day came home from work. I had 4 slices of cold pizza. I fed her a chili cheese dog. And I was like, okay, something has got to give. So I looked online and I found some schools and I immediately enrolled. It was this nutrition/lifestyle school. And I immediately learned that your lifestyle was directly tied to your food and all of your actions, in your life. And I'm just like, wait, what? So I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I started thinking, and it came to my attention that all of those voids I had in my childhood had started manifesting through my actions as a CEO, as a mom, and as an individual. So I was like, wow, I had never dealt with the death of my mom, my father not being present, being sexually abused, being a teenage mom. I had never dealt with that. It was just like, boom, it was just like, go. And so I had to sit with that and realize I had never dealt with that. So I started pouring into myself and really focusing on myself. Now I knew that I wanted to get married and have more kids. So I was like, okay, how can I do this? So I completely focused on me. I attracted this dude from the US Virgin Islands of St. Thomas. He took me there for my birthday. We started dating. He took me to St. Thomas, and we had this wonderful time. And on the plane ride back, I kid you not, God whispered in my ear and said, sell your business. And so, I mean, it was clear as day, sell your business. And so I was like, okay, I stepped out on faith. I hired a broker. The broker found this lovely husband and wife couple. And the next thing you know, y'all, I'm signing on the dotted line. Cash is in my bank account, like cash is in my bank account. And I am out the door. So this is when I start toypenny.com. I immediately get married to the dude from the US Virgin Islands of St. Thomas. We have another baby girl, and then we have another baby girl. So y'all, at this moment, I am running toypenny.com. I'm juggling clients. I'm a newlywed. I'm pregnant with one baby girl. I'm breastfeeding the other baby girl, and I have a 13-year-old daughter on this hand, and I'm juggling it all. I remember the 13-year-old starting to act out. I remember snapping. I'm trying to juggle the clients. I'm trying to be the newlywed, and I wasn't being my best self. I was falling apart, y'all. And so I went to my bedroom and I had another talk with the good Lord. And I said, how do I maintain myself, yet maintain everyone else around me? The word that he gave me was, when you are whole and complete within yourself, everything else falls into place. The light bulb went off for me. And then I started creating this method called the Love You More method. So I know that was sort of long, but that is my story. And that's how it came about.
I love your honesty and your vulnerability, and because yes, people who see you now must be like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous, she's this, she's well spoken, and she's successful. But sharing what you just did is a whole other step, because that's really sharing from the inside. So thank you for sharing. And what I find super interesting in your story is how you followed your intuition, your guidance, your guides, like, call them how you want. You followed, because I hear a lot of people saying, I feel like I should do that, and they don't trust their intuition, or they hear something or dream about something and they're like, oh, that would be a good idea. But then the moment they think about it, they're like, let's let it pass. It's going to pass, and we don't act on it. But really, the older I get, the more I realize that when people actually follow these intuitions and these voices, it's always there for our best. Usually it's there for our best. So thank you for sharing that. So and the book is amazing. People, get the book. She just shared a little part of the book, but there's a lot to learn in this book. Can you talk to us about the Love You More method now? Because I'm really intrigued about that. And I know that it's something that's basically your business now, right?
Yes, sure. So I believe that our well-being should be broken down into two parts. And because I was that high performing mom, or still am, there is no one for us. Like, if you think about it, there's no one, because we're so much in our leadership roles, and we're so much into serving, and people see our strength. There is no one who is there for us. We are there for everyone else, but no one is there for us. So I believe that we need a CEO mom intervention. So I call myself the CEO Mom Interventionist, where I intervene in her life and I privately guide her through all 8 of these elements. Now, the Love You More method is an upscale well-being program, and I truly believe that it should be separated into 2 parts. So I separated into 2 parts, and I named the first part your primary nourishment. So your primary nourishment feeds you, but they don't come on your plate. Your secondary nourishment is the second half of your well-being. That is the food that you actually eat and put in your mouth. Okay, so we have your primary nourishments, and which are things like your mental and emotional peace, relationships that nurture your soul, never-ending self-investment, a meaningful spiritual practice, a thriving career, quality sleep, and empowering physical activities. Those are your primary nourishments. They feed you, but they don't come on your plate. Now, your secondary nourishments are the foods that you actually eat and put in your mouth. Those should align with you and your body. I completely feel as though everything needs to be in alignment with where you are going, to your calling. Everything needs to be in alignment. Your food needs to be in alignment. Your books that you read needs to be in alignment. Everything that you watch needs to be everything needs to be in alignment, because we are all here to serve in a specific area of our lives. And so you need these tools in order to continue serving, right? Because if you don't have these tools, you will fall apart. Not only will you fall apart, but then here's where the love you more method really, you think that the love you more method is about you. It's really not about you. It's about them. It is so that you can model this behavior for generations to come, because there's going to be a point in time in your life when you are no longer here. We all have a time limit on this earth. And there's going to be a point in time when you are no longer here. So we are all after wealth, generational wealth. I hear it so much. I want to build generational wealth. But listen, what good is the wealth if these people, them, cannot utilize what you are leaving for them? If they are off in their mental and emotional peace, if their relationships are off, if their health is falling apart, if their well-being is falling apart, if they're drunk every day, they cannot utilize, because they also have a calling and a serving that they are destined to in this world. So the whole point of the Love You More method is so that they can benefit for generations to come. When you are long gone, you have planted a seed of generational well-being, y'all. And I got chills just saying that, because this is huge, y'all. This is huge. This is huge.
I think that's
so. Yes.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead. You keep going.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I think that is that's a new t-shirt, generational well-being, because yes, obviously myself, Caroline, and probably everyone who's on this podcast, and lifepreneurs and entrepreneurs and what have you, have talked about generational wealth. I mean, they've been talking about generational wealth since probably they sold the first life insurance policy. That's leave it for them. And they talk about leaving money. And money's not a bad thing. It's an incredible commodity that'll allow many, many beautiful things to happen in your life and generations to come. But to be able to pass on, and we know that, right? Children live what they learn, right? I mean, all the stuff that you went through. I love the pivotal moment when you said, you were talking about finding food or the nutritional part of it. And you were like, it came to my attention. It came to my attention. Sometimes our past will come to our attention, or our needs come to our attention. How loud does it need to be, right? For you, it was pizza and chili dogs. It can be, everybody can have their pivotal moment where you come to that place of attention, cleaning up the inside, showing out on the outside, and being a whole person, right? Passing on that whole thing. I love that, because even when people, and I know that you talked about it when you decided to sell your spa, people around you were like, are you crazy? What are you doing? I got that when I, wouldn't let my kids eat out of a microwave. People are like, you are such a hippie. Like when you make, right? And it's interesting what we do pass on. Sometimes we pass on stuff we don't want to pass on. And that's just what it is. We do our best to go backwards and clean it up, but we are who we are. And, that's where the whole forgiveness stuff comes in, and learning. But I just loved that piece, because no matter whether it's right for you, it's right for your family, it's right for where you're going, it's right to clean up your trauma if you had some, the things that don't work for you, right? Like that trauma piece of cleaning it up. And I believe that's what we can do, is pass it on better and better and better and better. Not perfect, better, 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 better. And so when they see this picture of wealth, it's not just financial, it's the whole picture. I just wanted to highlight that, because I think that's a great new way to look at generational pass on. It's the whole piece.
You are absolutely correct. I spoke with a young lady about 2 weeks ago, and she is like a money coach, and she has, these millions and just all of this. And what she told me really blew my mind, but she told me that her children has, $1 million there. When she's gone, they're going to have all of this money and just all this stuff. But she also told me that her 19-year-old was in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So, you sit with that for a moment. And like I said, we are, I hear that so much. I hear it so much. But the generational well-being, y'all, our generations are up under attack. They are up under attack. And it all starts with the life giver, the life giver. And as I'm diving into my history, I explained to you all that my mother passed away. I didn't know, anything, no closure. I didn't know anything. I was a little girl. But as I'm starting to dive in, my grandmother ended up raising me, who my grandmother is 80 years old right now. She doesn't look 80. She works like a workhorse. She told me the other day, if there was 8 days in the week, I would work that eighth day, and I'm starting to dive into the history of the family and the generations. And I know that it passes on. So I look at my grandmother, and then I see my mom, and then I go back to her dad, and I go back, and y'all, this has passed down from generation to generation. And I'm telling you, this is generational. It's generational. And in order to break the cycle, it has to start with you. It has to, because you are the life giver. You create life. Whether you create life in your team, whether you create life in your womb, whether you create life in society, you are the creator of life. It all begins with you. So if you have some mental and emotional piece going on, or something that happened when you were a child that you're stressing over, or that you're depressed over, or something that carries on, your children see that, your team members see that, society see it, carries on whether you know it or not. It carries on. It carries on in your actions. It carries on in the way you carry yourself. It carries on in your speech. It carries on. And if you don't deal with these issues, whether it's mental and emotional peace, whether it's your sleep that you're struggling with, whether it's your health, I'm telling y'all, because we are high performers, and because everyone thinks we're okay, we are the ones that are dying off of this earth prematurely. We're dying of cancers. We're dying of aneurysms. We're dying of high blood pressure. We're dying of everything because we are carrying it all. And we are passing it along to our children. We're passing it along. But hey, we got money in the bank. We
Yes.
got money in the bank.
And actually, when I was saying, that I was saying earlier, like, we hide it well, but kids still feel it. That for me, I realized not too long ago, because I have 2 kids that are adults, and I did raise them to say what they think. So I got an earful in some places. But I find it so amazing that we're now talking about generational well-being, because it is so true. And just like you, I've done that, very recently as well, to look at my generations behind me. And then you realize where depression is, abuse is, and everything. And it is generational. And when my son was born 22 years ago, an old lady, I can't remember what we were talking about, but she told me that. She said, it has to stop with you. It has to stop with you. And I took that in, but I was very careful in everything that I would do. So I would work out. I wouldn't, drink too much in front of my kids. I would not swear in front of my kids, all these things. So externally, I was being very careful with the example I was giving. But you know what? Now that they're adults, they can tell me that everything that I was hiding or faking, they knew. They felt it. They lived it. So it's really, you really have. And if I can give like one piece of advice to anyone who has younger kids, like, yes, do it now, because one day, when they're old enough to express everything. But it is a lot of work. And how does someone start, Toye? Like, where do we, like, let's say it would be the first time I'm hearing that from you, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this idea, this project is blowing me away, because I know it will hit some people, because we talk about genetics, that cancer could be generational and all of this, but mental health as well, and all of the everything else. So for those who are like, where should I start? Like, how do I fix something? Because it can be really scary to look at as well.
I do want to say, Caroline, you are absolutely right. My oldest daughter is now 20. She'll be 22 in September, at the end of September. And so I have a 22-year-old daughter, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. And you are absolutely right. The oldest daughter, you know, that's actually, the idea came from raising her, because it just hit me one day, it hit me that it's you. It's you. It's you.
Mm-mm.
The way you respond to her, it's you. The way you respond to others, it's you. Everything that happens, it's you. And we look on the outside of it, of ourselves. We always look on the outside. Well, why are you acting that way? Well, why are you, whatever. But it's you. It's how you respond. It's how you react. It's you. Everything is you. And so when you learn to control you, you can control others. Or you can help them control themselves, basically. The main thing is control you. Okay. And so because I believe that it's generational, I do provide lab work with the Love You More method. So when you enroll in the Love You More method, I provide a food sensitivity test. I provide a gut health test. I provide a sleep test, and I provide a blood type test. Now, the gut health is to find out what is lying dormant in your gut. Is it depression? Whatever it is, we need to get rid of it. Next is the food sensitivity test. I believe, like I said earlier, that everything needs to be in alignment. So we need to figure out what foods that you're eating every single day that's contributing maybe to your brain fog, or maybe to you snapping every day, or maybe inflammation, or whatever it is that you have going on. We need to figure that out so that we can quickly align the foods with you and your body. The blood type test is to figure out what blood type you are, so that we can align the workout specifically for you and your body. The sleep test is to figure out what type of sleep are you getting, girl? Or do you have sleep apnea? What are the different stages of your sleep that you're getting every single night? And so also, because I was a drive-through queen in my first business, I know that time is of the essence for high performers. And so every day, y'all, I used to drive through the drive-through. And so I have learned and mastered how to make simple, healthy meals in the Ninja Foodie. And so now the Ninja Foodie comes with the Love You More method also. So not only do you get lab work, you also get a Ninja Foodie. So when we get to the secondary nourishments of the program, I actually fly out to my clients and give them a VIP day. I spend the day with them. I give them a cooking class with the Ninja Foodie. I give them a pantry declutter, and I also give them a shopping tour so that they can understand how to quickly get in and get out of the grocery store. Whether you have a chef, whether you have a personal assistant, or whatever, they need to know how to quickly get in and get out of the grocery store. And they also need to know how and what to buy for you so that you can continue serving in the area that you serve. So all of that, along with my support, along with my love, my prayers, my accountability, comes with the Love You More method. So yes, it's a complete upscale well-being program.
So I love that you've added that piece, because Toye, I can hear, it's funny, I have this little thing when we're doing our lives here, I always hear these questions, and there was like a whole bunch of people. It's like, because whether it's embedded in us, whether it's messaging or what have you, there seems to be what I believe to be an untruth, and that it's like, you either have peace of mind, you're attuned, you've given up these aspirations, you've given up the climb for wealth because you want to be a better person, a better parent, a better neighbor, a better churchgoer, a better husband, a better wife, and that there is a price to pay for betterment. Then there's the people that are like, I'm not giving up my climb for wealth. If that means I don't sleep as much, if that means I eat a hot dog, if that means I they probably haven't had their spiritual awakening like you did, but they're like, if that means I have to give up that, if that means that I don't make it to every baseball game and everything, so be it. I'm building my family's future. And I think what you're introducing is the idea of being able to have both, because if we don't really, drive it home strong that you can have it both, right? Then people feel like they're in sacrifice, or there's this constant guilt. If you're a parent, oh my gosh, I think I never knew guilt till I had that baby the first day, right? And so you've got this guilt that follows you. It's like, I know I could be doing better in my business, but I got to go to the baseball game. I know I could be a better parent, but I got to go to this meeting because this meeting could change everything for our family. And it's either or. So I don't know if you can address that a little bit, but I can hear people out there going, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. That sounds fantastic. But I barely have time to do everything that's on my desk. So can you talk about how that weaves together? Because we do really live in an either or. 9 to 5 people, make fun of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs like, I'd never like to be 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It just is.
Yeah, I truly believe that we were given a life of abundance. We can have it all. We can definitely have it all. And so you are absolutely right. There are the people who say, listen, I'm going to have the hot dog or whatever, and I'm going to forget my sleep. But then, like I said, they're snapping the next day, or they can barely last, or whatever, or they're popping the caffeine or whatever it is. And then I believe that there's a difference between a high performer and a workaholic. Like, I truly believe, like, a high performer knows that they need the tools to get to the next level. A workaholic is somebody who has the hot dog and and has the no sleep. There's a difference. I'm talking to the high performers. This is who I'm talking to. Now, if you're a workaholic, girl, you need to become a high performer. But I am talking to the high performers, because there's a complete difference between the two. And so if you are a high performer, you are on a mission to be of service to others, that you are dying in this world empty, completely empty. You know that there are tools that you need to get you to the next level. This is the Love You More method. That is who it's for.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. And so I think if our listeners are out there and they're in that, in that gerbil wheel, and they want to go from gerbil wheel to high performer, or if you're a high performer that feels like you're in a gerbil wheel being a high performer and you can go to the next level, and that you can keep going up and you can have that beautiful life that you talk about, then absolutely, this is something you need to pay attention to. I know we're coming to a close soon. And I want you to have an opportunity to share, because me and Caroline are over the top excited about one of the services that you provide. We're picking out our dress now. We're going to be going on to an incredible dinner. That's what I'm going to say as I lead in here and let Toye talk about these amazing dinners that she offers. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say, is that we're super excited to be attending an upcoming event. So why don't you tell people, because this within itself is quite unique.
Yeah, sure. So I decided to offer Love You More Method mini dinner retreats. And what I'm doing is I'm hosting them online, and I'm also hosting them in person. So I actually have an online one coming up in September, and I have an in-person one coming up in September. So I have 2 coming up in September. And these dinners are by invitation only, but it's very exclusive, where you come in and it's an intimate, feeling, and we have a caterer, and we have a celebrity speaker. You get a copy of the book, you get a luxury gift box. And so you're getting all of these things, but not only that, you are getting the Love You More method. It's a way and an intro to work with me. And you get to privately go through the Love You More method in a small group setting. And there's going to be a hot seat, and you actually get to reflect on your life and see how you can make the transformation, and you can start your Love You More journey, and start implementing in your life so that you can model this for generations to come. And I truly believe that this method, the book, the dinners, all of this, it's beyond self-care, y'all. This to me is it's beyond self-care. This is more than self-care to me. So that's what it is. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, but that's what it is. That's what it is.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And yes, I'm picking my dress as well. And I think that, it's so great that you're bringing that, you're offering these things, because for me, when I hear these things, it's like huge gifts and luxury. When you say, oh, I would tell you how to eat, it's like, I always say the only thing I want is a private chef that thinks for me and for my family, and I don't have to think about, there's one word that I'm sick of here. It's supper, because they take care of their breakfast and lunch, and then every single day I need to figure out the supper. So for me, that's a huge luxury to have someone actually guiding you properly into what you should put in your body. And it's funny because most of us know what we shouldn't, and we still do. But that was a side note. What Deb said about, if you're a high performer and you want to go to the next level, the only little precision that I want to add for myself there is that the next level is not necessarily the next rank or the next, financial status. I think the next level is actually being successful and happy and peaceful. And I would love to do actually a real survey to see like how many people right now experience all of that. I've met quite a few, but it's still not the majority. And the world would be such a better place if it would be the majority. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing today. I cannot wait for that dinner. If you guys, anyone listening, want to have more information about the Love You method, or even order Toye's book, you can go to toyepenny.com. So TOYEPENNY.com. You will do yourself a huge gift. So do it for yourself. If you can't now, put it on your Christmas list and make sure it's the first gift you buy yourself. And that's it. I will ask you, Toye, to share with us some last words, and then we'll give the word to Deb because she likes to have the last word.
Yay for Deb with the last word. Sure thing. So I always like to say, you are being a bad steward over your life if you continue to allow things to take you away from your purpose and your calling. Whether that is eating the wrong foods, or, being highly stressed, or whatever it is, you are being a bad steward. We want to be good stewards over our lives, and we want to model well-being for generations to come. So I challenge you to love yourself more. Love them, but love you more. I'm Toye Penny, and I'm out.
Awesome. Well, Caroline, I think we've been set to the challenge, and so we're going to keep you posted on that. And I'm sure, as soon as you said hot seat, me and Caroline both on the inside kind of went, oh, that's not part part of this dinner, but it's going to be nice and self-reflective, I'm sure. Anyways, thank you so much. I think we've all learned something different about the idea around self-care, right? Just the concept of self-care. I think a lot of people think of self-care as facials and pedicures. You know, some people think about it treating themselves to that dress that they wanted to buy. Some people think about it a hot bath, but I don't think that everybody really understands the depth of all of the areas of your life, and that it actually moves you from one to another in a way that you can actually have more, not less, right? Have more time, not less time. Have more money, not less time. So thank you so much for those those awe dropping. And I just wanted to say out there that if anyone who's listening goes, man, I have something that I want to share. I've had a story that I've turned things around. And honestly, gosh, that was an amazing story. Thank you for your transparency around being a survivor and recovering and thriving, so if you have a story, if you have a book, if you have something, we say lifepreneur because there's people out there that are doing incredible things in the world that we need to know and people need to know. So please just reach out to us. Also, as this comes to air, we also have an incredible book launch. If you are listening and you are one of our subscribers, we want to make sure that you get to that book launch. We know what it takes to write a book and publish a book, so hats off. And we want to see you all on that book launch on October 1st. And I hope that we're obviously filming this beforehand so that you all have time to be able to hear about that. Please reach out to us. We want to give you a VIP invite to that book launch. It's going to be incredible. And what else did I want to say? Nothing other than just thank you so much for being here week after week after week and supporting and subscribing. Please share this information. We don't say it just to keep it to us. And we know we have thousands and thousands of subscribers and we love you. But please, there's someone that you thought about while you're listening to every interview. So share it, get it out there. So thanks again for being such an incredible audience. Thank you, Caroline. As always, it's fun to share and learn about new people with you. And thank you so much for being our guest this afternoon.